Welcome back, Rankers. Last show for the year. There is still a Christmas video coming. I haven't recorded it yet, though, so I don't know what it's going to be about. Hopefully I'll get it out before Christmas, though. Just a quick review this year of something that has been very interesting. Darren Rouse, pro blogger, who many of you will know, came out yesterday with a tweet saying, just spoke to a retailer who told me he's having his worst Christmas ever. All my customers are now shopping online. Well, this is, some would say a very big deal, but it's not panning out and we're hearing a lot of it, that retail sales are down this year in Australia. We've seen Jerry Harvey of Harvey Norman, who's one of our major white goods retailers, come out and say that retail is under threat from online now, and people are avoiding the GST, which is our goods and services tax, which is about 10%, which is exactly 10%, and that something needs to be done, and we need to change the GST laws, and we need to have a review of what's happening with GST and make sure people are paying the GST. But Ruslan Kogan of Kogan, who is a major Australian online retailer, has come out and said, I think Jerry Harvey's been a little bit disingenuous, that he's just about a campaign of trying to make things better for retailers, and a coordinated campaign at that. But why is this happening? Well, let's have a look at the dollar. The Australian dollar is at 99.66 US cents, and it's never been that strong since, I've been an adult, basically, and that is having a huge effect. We've even seen online retailers in the US target Australian consumers with free delivery, with all sorts of specials, because they're aware that our dollar is so strong, therefore that we represent another customer base for them. So we're seeing that happen all over. But if we go back to the year 2000 and go back in time and have a look at what Jerry Harvey was saying back then about retail, I'll just bring that up because I've closed it. But back in 2000, Harvey Norman retailers launched their website, and it really not much happened with it. They lost one of the main partners that was involved, and Jerry Harvey at the time said, you don't need to be a genius to run a website. It's just a frigging catalogue on the net. Well, so maybe that was part of the problem. But a lot of the other analysts at the time said that the reason he was saying that was because he didn't want to get his franchisees' noses out of joint. Now, if you're a franchisor and you have online sales, I'm not sure what creative ways that companies are now catering to both the people who want to shop online and also their franchisees. I thought it would be as simple as doing something like, if your delivery has a particular postcode in it, it would be assigned to that particular franchisee in that postcode. Obviously, it's more complex than that, but I'm sure there are companies out there already doing it and making sure it happens. And from reading between the lines, back then, that's the main reason that Harvey Norman online didn't take off. But we can even see it's more than that. They don't seem to be terribly interested, and I think this is true of a lot of our Australian large retailers, certainly. There are exceptions to this, and to show you that, if I type in LED 46-inch TV Samsung, we can see that the first two sites are a directory shopping site. Then we have JB Hi-Fi, who is another large retailer. Then we have Samsung, and then we have Kogan, and who is the online retailer. JB Hi-Fi again, twice in the top 10. That's pretty good. And then right down here we have Harvey Norman. But if we look up here, we've got Kogan buying ads. We've got LG buying ads. We've got Dick Smith, another large retailer, buying ads. We've got the Good Guys buying ads. So these are all Harvey Norman competitors buying advertisements and or ranking for long tail phrases. And they obviously recognise the value of that. So I would say that Jerry Harvey and other retailers that haven't got their online presence up to speed and certainly aren't getting the visibility online, that maybe 2011 is a good time to do it. Certainly we've got the element of the Australian dollar being so strong, but people are shopping more online now, especially in Australia, because if you have a look at the growth of sites like Facebook, Twitter, a large percentage of their growth, Australians are in that, meaning that we always seem to punch above our weight when it comes to things online. We had the most mobile phones per capita outside of Finland when mobile phones first started. All those sorts of things. So we do embrace technology, and we do embrace certainly online. And if you're a retailer and you're not doing something that, or if you are doing something, especially if you are doing something that connects the retail experience back into the online experience through social media, I'd love to hear about it, because I think there are a lot of opportunities now, especially with Google Places and those sorts of things. One of the things with Google Places is that if you get a review, it's going to help your ranking in Google Places. So why not encourage people while they're in store and having a good experience to give you a review? And if it's a bad review, hey, that's going to help your ranking as well in Google Places. But I wouldn't suggest you go out to get bad reviews. But if you know of any retailers doing that sort of thing, somehow bringing the online experience back into the store so you keep that connection with the customer after they've left the store, to me that's really powerful stuff. I'd love to hear about it. And to me, there's Google Places where you get customers to leave a review if they have a good experience. There's taking photos of something in the store. There's tagging things in there's all sorts of things retailers can be doing to keep that, to extend that experience, if you like, of online. And this applies also to media campaigns. If you're doing traditional media campaigns, the data shows that people then go to Google and search about that media campaign, whatever it might be. And so online is extending that media spend, or it's extending that retail experience, that you have a chance to keep a connection with those customers. And so what's going to happen next year? Well, last year I said that Twitter is bigger than Google. And by that I meant that its impact on the net is as big as Google's was with search engine. Twitter brought us a real-time connection that like we've never seen before. Sure, we've had internet relay chats forever since the internet started, and that's real time. But the difference with Twitter is that it allowed you to do keyword searches and follow a conversation about a particular topic that interested you from people anywhere where they were in the world that were on Twitter. And that element of discovery was the real power behind Twitter, which then saw Facebook this year and also Google change their products and services to become more real time. That's why we now have real time in Google. We never used to have that before. We have that now. In fact, that never used to be called real time. It actually used to be called updates. They've just changed the name of that probably in the last 48 hours, and I've only just noticed. That's interesting. So we see Twitter to continually impact on Google, and that's why there's so much buzz now around real-time marketing. We've seen an advertising agency who's also a client this week called Holler do some excellent real-time marketing, and of having, just search for Holler Christmas promotion, HOLLA, Christmas promotion. You'll see my blog post on it. But real-time marketing is where it's heading. And if you are at all interested in real-time marketing, I suggest that you get along and see this man if you're in Australia, if you're in Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne. Next year, the dates are here. Next year, Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne. David Meerman Scott, good mate, client, and one of the best, the best public speaker I've ever seen. Sorry, Chris Brogan, you're quite good too. But David will go for 8 hours and keep you interested throughout the whole session. And his workshops are invaluable. And you come away from his workshops bursting with ideas. And he's been brought out by Business Connect. And so make sure you get along to see him next year. And especially if you're in retail, this is really going to help you as well. Because it's not about the technology, it's about the communication. It's about connecting and with your customer base, whoever they might be or wherever they might be. So what's going to happen next year? What's going to be big next year? Well, I can tell what's going to be big next year already. And that is, of course, censorship of the internet. And the reason it's going to be big next year is because we've already seen in the last couple of weeks the UK come out and say they're going to censor all porn on the internet. Good luck with that. We've seen the French government come out with their own net filter. We've got our own Australian government talking about, I think it's 2013, 2012, 2013 I think, where our net filter legislation will finally be introduced. And of course, the biggie this year has been WikiLeaks. And we've seen governments all around the world, companies all around the world, try to shut them down. And of course, they can't. That's the point about censoring the internet. Any government that talks about censoring the internet, as far as I'm concerned, is really just talking about or talking to a certain part of the electorate that wants to hear those words, but everyone else knows that, as WikiLeaks has showed us, you can't shut things down. The internet is designed so you can't shut things down. That's how it was built. That's what it was for. But the other threat that we're seeing on the internet at the moment is we're seeing the UN push for more control over the governance of the internet. Now, to me, that's a little bit scary, because the internet, as the Internet Society has said, and Vinton Cerf of Google, who is my hero, Vinton Cerf, who now works for Google, has come out this week and said that please go and sign a petition, because what's happening with the UN at the moment, trying to get control of governance of the internet, is, I'll just type Google blog in here, see if we can find him. It's quite disturbing, because the internet has always been a ground up phenomenon, meaning that governments don't regulate it, governments don't control it. Imagine what it would be like if we all had to have a license to surf the web. Imagine what it would be like if we had to have a license to own a computer. In the UK, they still have to have a license to have a television set. Imagine what it would be like if every time you had to set up a website, you had to get a license for it. So the internet as a ground-up movement has worked very well, and it doesn't need to be fixed. And I think one of the main reasons that we're seeing this push by governments is because governments like to be able to control the message. And the internet doesn't actually allow them. No, here it is. The Google blog, governments shouldn't have a monopoly on internet governance, and it's posted by Vinton Cerf, who's the chief internet evangelist. If you like the way the internet works, I suggest you go and sign this petition, because it's really important that we don't let governments all of a sudden take control of how it's run. Because I don't know about you, but quite frankly, I wouldn't trust governments to run anything nearly as complex as the internet. The industry and the internet community has been doing a very good job for the last 30 odd years, 40 years. And as Vinton Cerf said, who's the man who came up with TCP/IP, one of the founding fathers of the internet, it's not broken. Let's not try to fix it. And that is it for this week's show. On a personal note, can I just say happy 19th wedding anniversary to my beautiful, gorgeous wife, Roberta, and we'll see you in 2011. Hope you and yours have a fantastic Christmas and New Year, and I wish you all a very happy and prosperous New Year. See you next time.